today's idea is this. Take one day at a time. Take one day at a time. Oftentimes when we're dealing with things like addiction, pornography, depression, anxiety, all these different things that we go through, we can start making these defeatist statements. Things like, I'll never get over this, or things will never change. Another one, I will always be like this. I will always do this. And there's two things about this that I want you to focus on. First off, those kind of statements are about the future. Don't worry about tomorrow, worry about today. And then the second thing about them is that they're absolute statements. You're making an absolute final claim on something that hasn't even come yet. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. So I want to bring you back to this main idea. Take one day at a time. Just take one day at a time. Now, as you do this, your focus is going to change from tomorrow, worrying about will you ever get over this tomorrow, to today, what can I do today, which is more helpful. If you're preoccupied with the final outcome, you really won't grow from the journey, and you won't value the journey, and you'll always be living in a fantasy world that doesn't exist. Oh, one day if this happens, I will be happy. So instead of all those things, take one day at a time. And so then you might say, well, I messed up today. If you messed up today, that was earlier. Now do focus on today now. Well, earlier today I messed up. That doesn't mean the whole day is wasted. There's this thing that we do in our church where we have where we read through the Bible in a year. Sometimes people feel like if they miss a day reading the Bible, or if they get behind, that somehow they just should throw away the whole year, and that's absolutely false. A mess up doesn't mean you should quit. If you messed up today, try again. Get back up. Keep going. Take one day at a time. And the verse I want to kind of goes along with this is Romans 12:12, which says, "Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation or trial or difficulties. Be constant in prayer." And once again, rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in prayer. I want to challenge you to memorize this verse and keep that going through your head as you're trying to deal with this. And then, so that takes us to this kind of idea that tomorrow is not written. And Jesus talked about this too. Today has enough struggle, enough trials, enough problems of its own. Just worry about today. Take one day at a time. One day at a time. Sometimes it's enough to just get through this day. And you might say, well, tomorrow I'm going to mess up, or I just know what's going to happen tomorrow. If you set yourself up for failure, you will fail. Don't worry about tomorrow. Take one day at a time, and that's the day that you're currently in. Oh, I messed up today. That was then, this is now. Take one day at a time. Take one moment at a time. And sometimes that's all you can do to make it through. And so I want to give you a kind of helpful idea as to how you can take this idea, take one day at a time, how you can take that idea and put it into motion. This is my challenge for you. Change the way you talk about it. Change the way you talk about it. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's an addiction, if it's pornography, if it's depression or anxiety, whatever it is, change the way you talk about it. Instead of saying things like, I'll never get over it, things will never change. Instead of talking like that, start talking like this. I messed up today. I failed today. I was overburdened today. I can't handle it now. Instead of, I quit, I'm taking a break. Change the way you talk about it. The past doesn't make the future. Start telling yourself those kinds of things instead of saying, I messed up, I'm a failure, I'll always be a failure. Instead of that, say this, my past doesn't make my future. Today I messed up. Yesterday I messed up. I'm getting back up, I'm going again. Another idea is this. I'm on a journey. This part of the journey I didn't like. This part of the journey was too much more than I could bear. This part of the journey, my anxiety was crippling, and I spent most of the day just rocking myself back and forth. Today with my depression, I almost killed myself. But I didn't. I'm on a journey. Let's see where tomorrow takes me. Let's see where the rest of today takes me. That's the kind of idea. Change the way you start talking about it. Another idea, say things like this, I'm in it for the long haul. I was overwhelmed today, or I messed up today, or my depression really, I couldn't handle it today. But I'm in it for the long haul. Today was a bad day. Okay, I'm going to get up and go again. And just because I'm having a bad day now doesn't mean that I'm going to give up. There was a long time where I had to do this with insomnia. It was a bad night. I'm not going to be in dread about tonight. I'm not gonna rearrange my whole life because I had a rough night. It's okay. It's all right. And then this kind of idea, even if I don't ever get over it, even if I don't ever win this, even if I have to struggle with this till the day that I die, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep getting up. See, once you change the way you think about it, it'll really help. So today's idea was take one day at a time. And today's helpful put it into action was, instead of allowing this defeatist kind of talk, changing the way you talk about it, changing the way you're thinking about it. So take one day at a time, change the way you think about it, change the way you talk about it. I hope that was helpful, and next time we'll have another idea to look at.